Hi, I'm Allison Anderson, and today I'm going to be going through what's in my travel camera bag. I mostly travel the world documenting my trips. I shoot both photo and video, and I have some gear that is my ride or die that I always like to bring with me. So my main camera body is the Sony Alpha 1. I love this because it is a hybrid for both photo and video. You get those beautiful high resolution images, the high burst shooting that is so helpful, especially when I'm shooting wildlife, which is one of my favorite subjects to capture. And then you also get the video features like 4K 120 video, so I can get those shots of a lion jumping and really slow them down to see that detail. And then my second camera body I always travel with is my Sony Alpha 7S III. This camera is so good in low light. It practically sees in the dark with that 12 megapixel resolution. So anything I'm shooting at night, astrophotography, this is great for. And I always like to travel with two bodies because I find it's really convenient sometimes to have two different lenses on hand. So if I'm in a safari vehicle riding along, I don't have to swap a lens if something jumps out right in front of me or if something's in the distance swapping for a telephoto. So I like to keep a wide angle and then maybe a telephoto on the other camera, and then I'm always ready to go. I also have this small rig rotating camera mount on it that is so handy for capturing vertical content because we have to shoot both these days for all the platforms. So I can have a shot set up on my tripod horizontally, and then all I have to do is rotate my camera on this, and I don't have to adjust my tripod at all. It just rotates for me. And then on both of my cameras, I have the Peak Design straps that are so handy because they just clip on and off really quickly. They're easy to adjust. The first lens I always like to have on me is what I call the all-arounder lens, and it is the Sony 24 to 70 millimeter F2.8 G Master Mark II. This is the lens that if I could only travel with one, this would be it, because you have the wide end with 24 millimeters, which is great for landscapes. I can do some interiors with it. I can even set it up and talk to the camera at 24 millimeters. And then 70 millimeters, you start to isolate your subject, you get some compression. So it's really versatile. And then the other lens I love to travel with is the Sony 16 to 35 millimeter F2.8 G Master Mark II. This is one of my favorite lenses to shoot on because it captures so much of the environment. If I'm shooting a landscape, you can see so much. If I'm shooting an interior, like I'm staying at a really beautiful resort, a beautiful hotel room, it really captures the room nicely, and it's so lightweight. It's not cumbersome at all in my bag. Another lens I love to shoot with, this might be my favorite lens to shoot with, is the Sony 70 to 200 millimeter F2.8 G Master Mark II. This is the lens that I know is going to give me the wow images. Whenever I shoot something with this, I'm so impressed with how it looks. It isolates subjects really beautifully. It renders colors really nicely. The autofocus is fantastic. And for what it is, it's quite lightweight. I don't get tired carrying this around and shooting with it. Sometimes if I'm shooting more wildlife heavy stuff, I'll also bring the 100 to 400 G Master, but I always like to have a telephoto, at least one. If I'm going on a trip where I'm going to be shooting at night, like the night sky astrophotography, I love the Sony 14 millimeter F1.8 G Master. This lens creates such beautiful images of the night sky, and the wide angle captures so much of it. You just see all of the stars. It's beautiful for shooting the northern lights, and that wide aperture allows you to capture really clean images as well. And then if I'm going to bring another prime, which I don't always travel with a prime, but if I do, I love the Sony 35 millimeter F1.4 G Master. This is just such a beautiful walk around lens to capture people, to capture environments. It's just, it renders such beautiful images, and the 1.4 aperture gives you such a beautiful blurry background, and everything looks so pretty with this lens. So if I have room in my bag to bring this, I like to bring it. Another piece of gear I always like to travel with is a good microphone. This is the Sony ECM M1 digital shotgun microphone, and it is the best travel mic ever because it is so tiny. Like, I can palm it in my hand. It is ridiculous how small this thing is. It powers directly through my camera's multi-interface hot shoe, so I don't ever have to worry about charging it, which is so huge, especially for travel, because when I'm jet lagged and tired and running around and checking in and out of hotel rooms, it's really easy to forget to charge things. It has multiple audio recording modes, so I can control where I want to be capturing sound around me. If I want to isolate something in front of me or capture everything 360, it's so great to work with. And then something else I always have in my bag are filters, specifically circular polarizing filters. These are essential if you're shooting any kind of water or anywhere that there's glare. If you're at the beach, you're outside, which is where I usually am, they're great at cutting the glare and giving you a much more vivid, clear, saturated image. And then the case. So when I can, I prefer to wheel my gear instead of carry it, which is not always feasible depending on where I'm traveling. But I do love a good hard shell case. This case is from Nanook, and I love it because it's very protective. I can fit a lot of gear in it, and I find that it's really easy to work out of on a trip. So I usually pack a case and then I bring a backpack. And I have all my gear in here, and then I'll get to a location and I'll pick out the pieces that I'm going to use there, and then I'll swap them out throughout the day. So it keeps me from having to lug everything around all day on my back. I can keep most of my gear in here and pick and choose what I want to be using. So this is some of my favorite gear to travel with. Thanks for watching. And if you want to see more of my YouTube videos, go to youtube.com/Allison Anderson.